No, because health department,
We're all set.
they'll be
John?
good though.
Always be looking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the first regular meeting, April 9th, 2025, set there by the clerk. Communications, 2 pieces. Questions or comments on communication? If not, we're gonna go into the mayor's report. Mayor Miller, what is your desire?
Yes, I'm gonna read this, but I wanted to show you guys, you have the newsletter in front of you. I wanted to just kind of steal that from real fast. I wanted to show you guys on this newsletter, we have Rotary is taking a significant chunk of the cost for printing these. So that's why they are incorporated in here. But if you take, I know some of you stopped in and I showed you this already, but if you take your phone and scan the QR code and click on there, it brings you to a menu. And what we like the most about this is there's an audio podcast. The audio podcast is AI generated, so basically you put in that you want a male and a female reading the newsletter in a podcast format, and it will read. I'll just play a couple seconds.
Recently updated Struthers newsletter. This is for January through March of 2025.
Okay.
And it's not just your standard, local update. This feels like a real effort, a collaboration with the Struthers Rotary Club to connect.
So that's just, so it basically is 2 people going back, it's AI generated, reading this whole newsletter. It's about 16, 17 minutes long. They've already went through at Maple Crest for some of the residents to listen to. You can listen to it on your way to work, on your way back from work.
Can you pick different accents?
I don't know. I will ask about that.
I thought those voices
Yeah,
were
like
rather
a British
pleasant.
accent.
Yeah.
I like to listen
But
to
just
that.
something new we're trying, and this is going to be put out 4 times a year. So a lot of this, it's pretty cool how this is all coming together. But we're pretty excited about that.
I would much rather do that than read it.
Yeah, and
So
listening it in the
and
car.
truly, I was gonna say that
Yeah.
people think like, oh, well, you're just too lazy to read it, but when you're driving or something like that, you can play it and listen.
Yeah.
Save you time reading it.
Email to you?
That's it, man.
Can you have them emailed to you, like get on a list to be emailed?
We haven't got that far. We're actually talking about even having, if they want to pay like $8 a year, and they can have it mailed to them. But the cost to mail it to everybody 4 times a year is out of this world.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of toying with those ideas, but as of right now, no. Okay, sorry. Our city newsletter is here, and it's better than ever. Catch up on the latest news, events from the past few months, and get a sneak peek at what's coming up. You can grab your digital copy right now by visiting the link on our Facebook page. If you want a physical copy. Limited paper editions are available at City Hall, Struthers Board Office, Nemen's IGA, Bellaria Pizza, Ace Hardware, Holiday Bowl, Cut and Toast, Briar Hill, Sigs for Lust, Ernie's Barbershop, Dave Wilson's Barbershop, Joe Fresh, Save a Lot, Maple Crest, and Premier, which is going to be West Banco. We've teamed up with the Struthers Rotary, and their newsletter is included too. We also have an AI-powered podcast version of the newsletter for you to enjoy, and a special thanks to former Mayor Dan Mamula for kickstarting this initiative, and to our editor, Brian Boyce. Struthers Cleanup Day, you guys should have the flyer in front of you for that too. That will be held Saturday, May 31st from 8 to 12 at the Struthers Street Garage. Tires will be collected for $1 per tire. You must show proof of residency. There will also be an appliance drive courtesy of Southside Recycling. No TVs will be collected. Habitat for Humanity will have a truck on site for furniture collection, and Basista Dumpster is providing a dumpster for large items. Please bring your family and friends and join us to plant, landscape, and clean up around the city. We do have a couple different things that we're going to be doing on Cleanup Day this year. We're going to be painting the building at Nebo. So we're going to have a group of kids that are going to be doing that. Our guerrilla gardeners are going to be there as well, kind of leading the charge on that, and some of the new plantings around the city signage. We should have all of the new city signage up by then, including the park signage. The Ohio EPA grant. The city of Struthers is receiving $18,548 in grant funding. We were the only ones in the county to receive this funding from the H2 Ohio Rivers Chloride Reduction Grant Program. This is one of the grants that KO applied for us. Bless you. The H2 Ohio Rivers Program is a 2023 expansion of Governor DeWine's H2 Ohio initiative, initially launched in 2019. The applicants for these grants could apply for funding for either new salt application equipment technology or storage facility construction. These funds help to alleviate the cost to governments like us across Ohio while allowing us to proactively reduce our environmental impact. This funding will be used for the purchase of 40 steel carbon blades and 10 razor systems. Struthers Unleashed. Struthers Unleashed will be holding their annual sausage sale this Saturday, April 26th from 11 to 4 at Ace Hardware and Struthers. Sandwiches are $5. All proceeds will go directly to the dog park. They have seeded the park. The new banners are up. Concrete work is scheduled. Seating and poop stations have been added. And the cameras are now installed and recording. The park is scheduled to open up the first week in May. Yellow Creek Park. In an effort to enhance recreational opportunities, the Metro Parks has continued its supplemental fish stocking program at Yellow Creek Park. The stocking program is designed to supplement existing fish populations. Catch and release is highly encouraged in these locations to help the Metro Parks maintain a healthy and diverse ecosystem while providing a high-quality fishing opportunity for anglers. The stockings at Yellow Creek Park include rainbow trout of catchable size, creating a put-and-take fishing opportunity that encourages anglers to harvest these fish in accordance with ODNR regulations. All anglers enjoy fishing opportunities provided by the Metro Parks must adhere to all applicable ODNR fishing regulations related to licensure, equipment usage, and harvest limits. The Easter egg hunt. Thank you to Councilwoman Megan Kingley for kicking off our Easter egg hunt, and to all the city council members, city administration, and to the Easter Bunny and to Frank Marr. A special thanks to Light City Church for all of the activities, the groceries, and lunch for everyone. Thank you to our Struthers Firemen's Association, as well as our Struthers FOP Lodge 41 for donating the Gianna's candy bunnies, and to Walmart for donating 2 bikes. And that's all I have. It's a rather long one.
Okay, is there any questions or comments for our mayor?
Yeah, just one. Maybe you can elaborate. It said that we're gonna build 8 houses in Struthers.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said they will be sold back to the city per the grant agreement. What's that mean?
So the process, this is something we figured out how to do this just like the rest of the land banks that a lot of the other cities haven't. We are working with Pantheon Builders. They are the ones who applied for this grant through the Ohio Department of Development. They give the city of Struthers $2.75 million. We use that to purchase these 8 homes that are built. So we transferred all the properties over. They're going to build the homes. They will be done by the end of this year. They will be sold probably, we're looking at February, March of next year. YNDC is helping us with that, so is the Mahoning County Land Bank. YSU is actually, they're gonna be coming to talk about something that we have for council to look over on May 7th. Once we purchase those houses from Pantheon, whatever the sale of the price is, or whatever the sale of the house is, we get that money back into the land realization so that we can put it into further development projects going forward. So one of the costs that we will have is to YNDC for handling all of the compliance issues and everything that we have to do with the liens for the 20 years of the project.
So we're not interviewing the people that are we're not selling the houses.
We are not. YNDC is handling all of that for us
Okay.
because we would need to hire 3-4 more people. They're already doing it for the Mahoning County Land Bank, so they know the process, the procedure. They have to put the individuals that are going to be applying for these homes, they still have to qualify for a loan like normal. They have to go through different counseling sessions. There's a whole list of stipulations that they have to qualify. There's different things that they have to do through banks and things like that. So they still have to qualify for a home loan, but they basically hold your hand and walk you through this. You have to be able to qualify. I think it's 220% of the median income for each household. So it's workforce development housing. So we are probably building houses that are $310,000. We can only sell them for $220,000, up to $220,000. Now, that's what YNDC is going to do. They have no problem selling the ones in Youngstown that they've been doing, but we also have to look at the market value of what the surrounding neighborhoods are, and if they're not selling immediately, then look at adjusting that price. But that's something YNDC is handling. They're
So we're not getting into realty business?
No, not
I
at
know
all.
you didn't like that
I
with the
mean,
buildings.
not
Well, I
in
don't
that
want-
way, no.
I don't with the buildings, however, in this regard, I would like us to have more control over who's purchasing the homes.
We wouldn't.
I understand that now.
Yeah.
Originally, I thought once these got relinquished to us, we would be able to decide what the homes, even though when they were marketed, what they were worth and what we were willing to accept for them, because that was.
I mean, we can't, we have a say-so in that.
That's what I wanna
INDC.
make sure, because my whole point is, I get it that these homes, this was a huge windfall for the city, 100%. And I get that, however, I wanna make sure we're not reselling these homes for $100,000.
No.
And the city is gonna end up with $800,000 when they should end up with $2 million.
No, what YNDC is saying, they're not having any problem selling those homes in Youngstown. There's no way they're gonna have any
Oh, no,
problem selling
I
those homes in
agree,
Struthers
and
either.
they're brand new homes, and the problem is gonna be, you need to make $45,000 or less to get approved to purchase the home, isn't that
No, you
correct?
said 220%.
Now it's 220, it just happens to
Initially,
be the same numbers.
initially it was 45,000, correct?
Yes, initially
Okay.
it was that, but they have upped it because all of these programs, all of the land banks went to the state and changed the legislation.
Okay, great.
So that it's 220% of the median
That's,
household income.
that makes me so much more confident in
All
what
of us.
people are going to be approved for to
Yes.
actually purchase the home,
Yes.
so that's much better.
And once we get into it more, I'm gonna ask that Ian Beniston from YNDC come and explain that, because he, I mean,
Yes.
he was just leading a housing, talk that Mark Brenner and I just attended, and he was incredible to listen to. If you watch anything that Youngstown Neighborhood Development Corporation is doing, they have it figured out
Well, I guess,
better than anybody in the
I'm
the
sure,
state.
so my way of thinking is, cause some of this is new information,
Oh,
right?
this is all,
So originally I was anticipating the 45,000
Yes.
you would have to qualify for it. At this point, when the homes are sold, we have 8 homes. Let's just say they're gonna get sold for $200,000 each. Let's just make it a round number. That's $1.6 million. That money goes into the Struthers
Land
land
reutilization.
reutilization, and then we are gonna use that $1.6 million to keep this going.
yes,
Is that
one
correct?
hundred percent. However, we have to look at the contract from from YNDC.
So we're gonna have expense out of it. That's
Yes.
okay.
The expense, the major expense is gonna come from YNDC handling all of the
And-
marketing, all of the promotion, the selling, and the, what am I trying to say? The maintenance of the program, because they can't sell these houses for so many years.
Okay.
So they will be on the hook for 20 years
Sure.
for the homes.
No, all of
They're
that
all
sounds
doing the
great.
same exact thing, Youngstown got 19 houses.
Okay.
So they're gonna be, it just makes sense to have them do the same thing.
Absolutely. But
We
you
don't
know,
have the staff to do
for years, for a few years at least, I have been harping on not tearing down homes, not making the city smaller, figuring out how we can repopulate.
Yes,
This is great towards that. I didn't hear the news that that money would get recycled into the land reutilization, and we would be able to further more house builds and
Yes.
more projects with this. That is huge,
Yeah.
so.
and we can even at some point, depending on how much we make out of this, we can build our own homes. And we can hire YNDC to build houses,
Sure.
we can hire different
Well,
companies
you
to
could do the
build.
same thing with Pantheon, correct? If
Yeah.
this is something that works out and they're a good partner to the city and this all worked out great, then
And
we already
he's-
have a relationship
They wanna
with them
come
at
to
that
council
point.
too and just introduce themselves. I believe they're gonna come to cleanup day, just so that the community gets to know everybody. But this is really something that we've been working on since 2020. We've been hoarding these properties and working with the county land bank literally for years. YSU did the study, the survey where they walked around the entire city with the students. We have that huge map in my office that shows the tax delinquent properties and different things that need done on the houses. And we've had all these properties, Billy Minchin has been working with, Dan Yema's office and with the county land bank almost daily, trying to get a lot of these properties because we wanna get them off the books for our street department. So we're not spending so much time cutting grass, so we're
Yeah.
either putting a house on them, if they're too small to build on, which is something that we would like to bring to council too.
Sure.
Because some of these lot sizes are just a tad too small for what our ordinance says. But we feel that there's so many different options with smaller houses that we can put a house on them, we just have to look at our ordinances and
Agreed.
kind of fix those. There's a whole new thing coming through the county, Tri-County actually, and Ashtabula, so Columbiana, Trumbull, Mahoning County, and Ashtabula, they have come up with basically like a guideline for municipalities to update their zoning. We have a grant opportunity, we're gonna be applying for that, KO found something, it's up to $10,000 to redo our zoning. But that's something, if we do get that, or if we look over what they have in place, we're gonna need council. That's gonna be a few hours going over those
I think that's a
things.
great idea. What I don't wanna do is, when we go through that, I wanna make ours for us.
Yes.
I don't wanna get pigeonholed into what somebody else does, so we just
100%.
take that. Let's take the good from theirs and leave the bad, and
And
go to
that's what I'm
somebody
saying,
else's and just
we
take
may
the
have
good.
to have I don't know what kind of meeting, that, like a working meeting or what that would be called, where we literally go.
Workshop.
Like a workshop, go and put aside a few hours and really go through all those. That's coming down the pipeline.
Could we use that money to develop the 26 acres?
Yes,
Okay. I mean, you know, just as a, you know, possible option in terms of,
But the
Yes.
26 acres it's already free and clear to be built on, right? It has been
doesn't have any
restored.
utilities.
Okay.
we have to work with the EPA, because just like that little triangle parcel that we have the kayak launch, it took probably about 7 months just to get that little triangle piece. John was working on it with the attorney from the EPA for the covenant not to sue, and just that little piece of property, changing it from industrial use to a recreational use or to a commercial use is a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of time, it's a lot that goes in to change that there. But we have that grant that KO put through for the EPA for the $7 million to run the utilities there, to also like kill two birds with one stone. It works on that overflow coming off Hawthorne, and it would also provide the utilities there. Until we have the utilities there, we're
Yeah,
kind
you're
of stuck.
right.
Well, that property's shovel ready to an extent, right? Because I think
depending on what the use is.
the land is only so good.
So
Right.
If it goes down deeper, it's gonna run into some more problems.
Sure.
And I think when they put the utilities in there, that's what's gonna happen.
Possibly.
And then
That's why we have to go all
could
through
jack
the
up the
EPA.
price
I,
of us putting it in.
if they're putting sewage in there, absolutely,
Yeah.
that's.
And then
But
that's
it's
gonna
still
cost us.
one of the biggest one of the biggest things is changing the use of that property from industrial to going through that whole process. That's one of the biggest.
What is it classified now?
Industry, and John, do you remember? It was industry and something else.
I don't remember.
But we had to change that little parcel it was industry and something else. I don't remember the term. But we had to change it to recreation for that little piece. But this would be, we
But
would
that-
have to change it to
yeah.
commercial.
That still doesn't
or-
negate how deep they have to go for the utilities.
No.
Because
but that's
I
all
think
part of the EPA
I think
grant.
we're gonna fall into some expense there.
But that's all part of the EPA grant.
Because they're gonna have
with
to
that.
clean that
Mhm.
dirt up,
Definitely.
yeah.
My biggest hope for that property has always been that somebody like Astro Shapes initially wanted to expand onto that property.
That's pretty much been kind of mixed, because of, that was mixed before they gave us the land.
Yeah, I'm just in general, or something like that, because
Yeah.
then they're gonna have to bear the expense to clean the property.
Yeah.
Well, can you even put a basement in there?
No,
Probably not.
not unless you restored the property to EPA standards, however they're saying, you know what I mean, or they're gonna have a guideline, I would assume.
So
Once you're
the-
going down probably below, I would assume 3 or 4 feet,
Yeah,
they're gonna have a guideline that you're
Sure.
then gonna have to dispose of that soil some way, that they're gonna tell you, you know?
Just like they did with the dam removal, most of that cost was removing
Yeah.
the toxins. But we met with Tex Fisher, and Al Catrona, and they're all aware of that property and that we need utilities run out to it. We may have a better drawing of what part of that property. We talked with Judge Malone about moving City Hall and creating a community rec center in half of that property. That way we can still market the other half, but a lot of businesses and different things, because you can't dig too far down, aren't compatible with that space, regardless of how much we want it to be. So something like a community rec center, court, city hall we wouldn't necessarily need any type of basement, and there's different ways we could work around that. We have an old drawing, from 2020, but we may have an updated drawing, coming soon. But our fingers are crossed on that EPA grant, cause that will be huge.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Not just for wastewater, but
Yeah.
definitely for that property. But they've already, if you drive down by the kayak launch, they've removed all the trees. So if you stand there, you can see the water,
Oh, is that
just
right?
like in Louisville, yep. So that's gonna be completed very soon.
Any other questions for the mayor? If none, Dallas, I need you to convene your committee to one piece.
Yep, call this finance and legislation meeting to order. Mr. Burnside.
Here.
Mr. Ballack.
Here.
Mr. Bigley is here. We have one piece, and it is from the mayor, the safety, and the law director, and it is an ordinance repealing 135.07 of the codified ordinance of the city of Struthers, and ordinance number 25-013 and declaring an emergency.
Motion to bring it out.
Second that.
That is it for finance and legislation. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
that.
meeting adjourned.
Okay.
You call your
Board of
meeting.
Standing Committees.
Finance and legislation committee meeting to be held May 7th at 6 o'clock.
And I'm not sure, community development, what are we gonna decide, you think, have you talked to the gorilla
Yes,
gardeners?
I won't be here on the 7th.
Right.
My son's doing his confirmation
Right.
that night.
We
they
don't
should
have to do it on the seventh, but,
We wanna have some type of drawing or something in place, because they're working on the drawings for the signage that's gonna go in so they'll have something for me for that day.
Yes.
They were thinking maybe the flagpole area or that entry area for Nebo,
okay,
because there's a flagpole there, but there's nothing
around it.
that like says welcome. So some type of landscaping for 811 there.
Can
So
we incorporate that Nebo sign in there though?
the Nebo sign is gonna be out on Center Street.
Oh, okay.
Or wait, which
No, the
Nebo
one
sign?
that's in the flower,
That is getting pulled.
I know, can we put it in the park?
I don't see why not, yeah.
Incorporate it with the landscaping of the pool?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have the park sign that's gonna be out on Center is gonna match the rest of the city signage. But we're gonna have those Nebo signs that we could put basically wherever, so that's fine too.
So do you want him to come on that seventh, or would you rather him come on a different day?
We have until, they
We
wanna
have
do
plenty
it
of
on
time.
811, so that it's,
Check,
Right.
see if you could do it on the 21st.
yeah, if we can push it till the end,
Yeah,
only
so
cause I
that
know
would be,
I'm not gonna be
It's 2
here.
weeks
you said the 21st.
Well, the 21st is another,
Yeah, committee
committee meeting,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, I just wanna
Yeah,
kinda
if
keep
that's
him,
okay.
May 21st, okay.
Any other committees? Just finance? All right, of course, you know, we got one piece of legislation, questions, comments on the one piece of legislation? None, unfinished business? New business?
Yeah,
What are you under?
unfinished.
Okay.
And I suppose this would be unfinished business, the McKinney building, the demolition. Now, have we considered what it's gonna look like once that building is down? Cause you know what's behind it. You know
Yes.
what you're gonna see.
So,
Can you,
the yellow building,
The
that
Los
wall.
Galos.
Los
No,
Galos.
Yeah,
oh,
so we have, what word am I trying to, we have secured funding for the demolition of that. We are, at this point, it will be gravel parking lot because we will have a huge sewer line, I think it's sewer storm line that we have to redo, and we don't want to put anything permanent down when we know we're gonna be tearing it up soon.
once you redo it though, the plan will be to pave, obviously.
Yes, that will be to pay,
Yeah,
but we
I-
want to
that-
put something, so we have the study with, that we did the safety study downtown, that there will be some type of entryway or some type of brick. We'll make it look presentable, so it's not just open where people can just pull in and,
I think that in taking that building down, that we will have a new eyesore.
yes, we
All
were
the
just there.
overgrowth behind it.
The overgrowth behind it
Yeah.
and the building that's behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a pretty building
Yeah.
to look
Two
at.
things going on there, the growth in the back that's off of the creek.
That's easy enough to
Yeah,
mitigate.
Brian with the buildings the strip of buildings that he bought, he's he has the scaffolding and everything, he's got the new doors on the building next to Sayla's.
Mhm.
When he's done with that project, he's working on the alleyway and the green space with the CIC money. When that's done, his next project is putting decking and really cleaning up that back area
Mhm.
so that you could sit outside and read a book or
Right.
have a cup of coffee. But you're
Right.
right, we were just in there with Mr. Sontich from
Yeah.
Yellow Creek Properties on Friday. We were just there. And he assured us again that he's going to be fixing that back wall.
But also, I will
So I don't
say,
know where we're at with that.
Well, the back wall isn't even the problem, it's the whole side of that building, I mean, it's just, you know, the McKinney building, at least it's a building.
Yeah.
You know, the other one, it's a building as well, but I mean, it just is, you know, just cinder blocks and, you know, it's
I agree with
not
you
aesthetically
Well, that's-
pleasing
This
to
is
look
a whole
at.
nother building.
in the short term. I agree that if in the immediate it poses an eyesore problem.
Right.
That, there's really no denying.
Well,
Yeah.
let's be honest,
However,
look at the other eyesores in town.
Not only that, but this is working towards progress. And
Exactly.
anytime we're working towards progress, we are going to have challenges like that. I'm personally, I'm not scared of it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I agree that it is something we are gonna have to look to address.
Look at when we tore the house down next to the post office. We tore it down, it was a huge eyesore, but it only opened it up for another
Correct.
eyesore.
Right,
So
right,
while it's,
right.
and
And
we're-
then the McKinney building, I mean, it is just irreparable?
it caught on fire last time I was in there,
Okay.
yeah.
Who's gonna spend the
Okay.
millions of dollars to fix it up?
Well, I don't even think.
Oh, I don't know, I'm just.
I
I'm
don't
just
even
asking.
think it irreparable, I mean, because anything, let's be realistic, anything is repairable.
Right.
If you wanna
Right.
spend the money.
Right.
However, I think getting rid of that building frees up a lot of parking for future development, and I
Mhm.
also think that it definitely frees up the congestion at that light, the in and out.
So there's a couple of different things. We met with all of the business owners in downtown
Mhm.
before, when the safety study first came out, so we could show them what's going on, so we're upfront, we're being transparent, our communication is open with them, so they're aware of everything that's going on downtown. All but I think one person wants that building down because of the need of parking. It's not such a huge issue right now because we don't have viable businesses in there,
Yeah.
but once those are up and running, we are going to have an extreme parking problem.
You're never
We had
gonna-
it when Eric Ryan had the
You're
cellar
never
there.
gonna get those businesses though
With no
without
parking,
yes.
the parking.
Yeah,
That's true, I mean.
Yeah.
Listen, that's not what we wanted, we do not wanna tear anything down. But
Right.
after taking 30 to 40 different investors there from all over the nation,
Yeah,
I mean,
Good.
we've shown that building a gazillion times, and most recently, the last time was when it caught on fire.
Mhm.
We don't want that to be the case, but that's where we're at. That's what happens when people sit on buildings so long, it just keeps deteriorating and
Oh, yeah,
deteriorating
for
and
sure.
deteriorating.
Well, that one's a little bit different because it was tied up by the bank.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
mean,
For
it
to,
was,
to address that building, you ever see the sound barriers they have on the freeway?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Couldn't we put that up on the other side of the creek and then dress the creek up?
Sure.
Yeah.
The-
There's
the-
a lot of
I-
things we
when
could-
was
there's a
that
lot of
fall
things.
under?
I don't think those are that expensive.
Sound barrier is
are they?
very expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Well,
and it's
I-
concrete, so
yeah,
if
but
you're
I-
gonna do the stamped and stained, very expensive. What is inexpensive is, I don't know that would qualify for next year's facade grant or
Yeah.
future facade grant. It's not very much money to side,
Yeah.
the side of that
But we
building.
would wanna
yeah,
Or
work,
just
I mean,
to do something-
address it
to-
in some way, yeah.
Correct, but I mean, a facade grant, I'm sure would pay for a big portion of that in downtown.
but what, we don't want to just keep putting little things here and little things here. We probably wanna look at hiring like a landscape architect that can say, this looks good, instead of just
As long as we can get a
throwing
grant
something
for it.
up and,
Or even,
listen, KO's been kicking butt.
No,
on
no,
these
no,
grants.
I'm not
or
saying.
put
If
some
we
type
can
of
find
cheap wall
something-
up there and have somebody paint a mural on there,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the whole thing is with that,
or something like that.
is
Like you.
you see that is like a major, it's not like, like
It's a
Megan
focal
says,
point.
Megan's like, oh, the rest of downtown, well, the rest of downtown isn't at, like, when you're going down State Street, that's what you see.
Yeah,
So like,
And
it's
when it's
not like
gone.
on the side, and it's
Yeah.
not like on this side, cause you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
You're gonna see it, so it's a big difference,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, but there's
it's-
just as much traffic on South Bridge
Yeah,
going,
But you're
northbound,
still not
southbound,
looking
and you don't.
directly into it.
Correct, that was my
But you could
point.
build a
You
nice
don't see that
entranceway
building.
with
Oh,
landscaping.
but I mean,
For,
even
so
like
only
a
half
clock
of the
or something.
direction you
Yeah.
see
Right
that
there,
building,
you know.
only when you're
But it's a
traveling east.
direct-
Yeah, it's
Some-
something that's gonna have to be addressed.
Yeah.
I
some-
agree,
you know.
Some
I
Somewhere
agree.
down the road, alright, somewhere down the road, we'll keep all that information
Yeah.
in mind, we'll address it when the time comes.
But I will say,
Any other-
kudos to Brian Palumbo
Oh.
for
Oh.
getting such a good start on that building.
You
And
see the doors?
Yeah,
Oh, no, it looks great,
it looks
Brian's doing an
fantastic,
awesome
and look
job.
how quickly he's working.
Plus, I honestly think once that building is gone, I think you have a nice spot there by the creek to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It's not that big, I get it, but it does free it up to have, if you had a nice parking lot there, you had some sitting, some
Yeah.
seating down by the creek,
I
you
trust
had a deck.
whatever Brian does.
Yeah.
I'm saying us, I'm saying once that building is gone and we
Yep.
now have to fix that parking lot and make it into something, I really think that could be a
Area.
nice little
But
spot.
it's gonna be ugly until that pipe is fixed, it's not gonna be,
It can't be any
It's
worse
gonna-
than what it looks like now.
Oh, it can.
I really don't say that.
But that's what progress is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Speaking of progress, weren't we, promised a business to be opened up by April first in one of those buildings down there?
Something like that, yeah.
October.
October, I thought
That
it
was
was
October last year.
October of last year, but
Yeah.
Mr. Walsh was here.
Yeah,
He said
not, and
April
just a
1st
few months
we will
ago,
have-
yeah.
They
One
would be
business
painted,
opened
they
up.
would all be painted and everything by now.
Right.
He promised us.
Yeah.
Well,
I will tell you, Eric is there a lot.
I know.
He
He's,
is
he
spot on.
works.
He's working hard.
He does.
I
well,
have
it wasn't
On
at
his
the time,
building.
not
Yeah, on his.
Yeah.
On
Right.
his building, yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying, he came down here, presented himself and says, well, I promise you I'll have one business in there by April first.
Put a car lot in there, Rick.
Not a shot.
Any other
And
unfinished
close.
business?
Non-closed.
New business
You know, sit here.
for the law director, John, do you have anything for us?
Quickly, I just wanna put it out there for maybe the next finance and legislation committee meeting. I don't know if anybody else got it, but, I got like 2 or 3 text messages, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, about what the hell's taking so long to get through the city of Struthers with everything going on down there.
Oh, I got 20.
Tons,
Yeah.
I've been getting.
Yeah.
So, what I understand is there's been some frustrated drivers down there. And I was talking to one of the officers today during court, and apparently Camel has an ordinance that when work is being done on a main thoroughway in their city, they are, the companies are required to have an officer out there at all times. Now, they don't necessarily, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't use these flagging companies, but there's an officer there in case there's any issues and anybody gets.
County's the same way.
So I don't know
So
if
we have one,
the,
yeah,
Yeah, there's
we
an
have,
officer out
we've
there.
had an officer at the top
Top
of
of
Bridge
Second-
and Pullen Avenue.
And there's one at the
but this
bottom
would,
too.
what I guess what the officer was suggesting was an ordinance that would mandate it for any time that there's any work being done on a main drag.
Mm-hmm.
Going on that are overlapping, is you guys can't start this project for a month until this one's done to try to avoid things like what we have right now, which is far too much construction at one time. Our
I
infrastructure
don't know if I
cannot
have
hold
an
that.
answer for you right now on that one.
Wasn't it
They
because
closed
they
the
were
road
in the
down, they
same
didn't even tell
areas?
us.
Well, I mean,
The other
that's,
day, on that day.
Kat, I'm gonna be honest, I do the same work these people are doing, only I do it on a smaller scale, which is true, but I do it all over. I would get crucified, I mean, there is no question,
Hey, Gal,
somebody would be
I
down there.
think if you remember that, Bob had mentioned to both utilities to try to coordinate their time frame to get them done. So I think the administration keeps up with that approach to that, hopefully.
He
that will
did, he
be-
did mention that, cause they were gonna be in the same
Right.
areas at the same
One
time.
other thing before we move on, I can understand an officer being there because the other day I witnessed a flagging company there And this guy was swearing and cussing at motorists because
Bob has been down multiple times.
Listen, if that happens, these people, tell them we don't want them working in our city.
if they're gonna
They-
act that way.
They work
so-
for the public utility companies,
So,
they don't work for the city.
I think-
We
I
have
think
the ability
administration-
to say
the
who can work in
administration,
this city and who cannot.
alright,
If you're gonna treat our residents like that, then go somewhere else.
so we can move on, but I think the administration got the idea of it, and, hopefully we can have an office instead of flagging company. Cause they seem to be more professional than flagging company.
A lot of them require both. You'll have to get an AWP,
Okay.
cause they assume all the liability then if there's an accident or something like that. But then you also get a sheriff or an officer to coordinate that as
Okay.
well.
Any other questions for the law director? Auditor's not here, safety director's not here. Kath, is there anything on behalf of the safety director?
No, just about the projects we just talked about, we're trying to basically get through this. We've had a lot of complaints, a lot of calls to the office, and we're trying to explain to them, we really, like you said, we don't have a say so. We're trying to handle it the best we can. Bob has spent a lot of
I
time
know he has.
down, everywhere, talking with them, trying to explain. We actually had an oversized load come through today while the street was closed. We weren't even told that they were closing Bridge Street the first day, so that was
So put something in place so we can find them. You close a road without telling us, it's X amount every hour that it's down.
and
Don't let
just-
these people come in here and
Yeah.
this is our city. Don't let them come in here and push you around.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. When I go to other cities, believe me, if I acted like that at Gerard, they might throw you in jail.
Okay,
Well, we will have soon, we don't know the date because it's on the railroad schedule, but they're going, for the Aqua project, they're going to be closing that road down, so everybody's gonna be rerouted around Bobsine Way, so anybody going to and from the north side, that's gonna be a huge inconvenience, expect a lot of calls, but we have no say-so when this is gonna happen. They might tell us the day before, we're gonna do our best to get the information out as quick as possible, they might give us a week, they might give us and say we're doing this today. We have no
But how?
hold
'Cause
over the railroad.
alright,
They have to pull
let's
a
wrap,
permit in
let's
order
wrap
to do
this
that,
up.
though,
Any
correct?
other
The railroad
further
doesn't have to do anything.
dialogue on this topic? Make an appointment with the mayor and safety director and let's,
Got it.
move on. Okay, we're gonna have a guest speaker tonight, Mahoney County Public Health Department, Ryan T-Cat, is that how you
Yep.
pronounce his name? Is gonna come in, so we're gonna have him speak first, and then we'll open it up to the public after that. Okay? Any other questions for? Need a motion during caucus?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
caucus is adjourned.